You are now listening to the Fighting Back Podcast, and here's your host, Jessica Travis.
Welcome to the Fighting Back Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Travis. Today with me at the AHA conference, we are talking with Dr. Conde. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
I really enjoy you being
here.
here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So you are a functional neurologist.
That's right.
And I love this, and I have no idea what it is. I mean, to be fair, I have a slight idea what it is, but I would love for you to tell our listeners and the audience a little bit about what functional neurology is.
Absolutely.
And how it interplays with people with special needs.
Right. So functional neurology basically is a discipline that focuses primarily on therapeutic approaches for brain injuries, whether it's like autism, any types of developmental delays. So we're working on really focusing on enhancing the way the brain works.
Okay.
And it's through therapy.
And when you're talking brain injuries, my mind automatically goes to, okay, something happened and now my arm is injured, my brain is injured. What do you mean by brain injuries?
So brain injuries, when you look at like acquired brain injuries or anything like that, we're also looking at, you could put, somewhat kind of cluster some developmental delays. To me, that's, the brain didn't really fully develop the way it should. And so we help to accelerate that development through really targeted therapy. So the difference between us and traditional medical neurologists is our specialization, our training really focuses on therapy, not so much medication, right? So we're trained to diagnose, we're trained to do everything, but we're really going to work on getting the brain to function more optimally, specifically the areas that maybe are responsible for the symptoms the child is having.
I see. Okay, so can you, and I know it's probably going to get a little complex, but can you describe a little bit about brain therapy? Because when I'm thinking of therapy, I'm thinking walking, moving.
Yep.
How are you doing therapy on the brain?
Yeah, so we're going to use primarily sensory motor things. Now, I'm going to break that down so it doesn't sound so complex. So we're going to, for example, we're going to use what we call a multi-axis chair. I'm going to put a child in a pod. It looks like they're training for space aviation, but we're going to turn them, spin them, and create movement therapy to stimulate their brain.
Okay.
We may put them on a platform that has motorized technology that it'll move while we put some medical virtual reality goggles on them, and they're having to kind of traverse the universe while they're on a motorized platform. Obviously, I'm being very generic about how we do this, but those types of things, that we may put them in front of a visual motion board, and they're having to deactivate targets while we do specific electrical activation to the vagus nerve, which there's a lot of therapy and research behind that. So those types of things is what we do.
Okay, seems very high tech.
Yeah.
So for question with any of these therapies, I know for me, I'm a big, I don't like pain. So are any of these therapies really painful when we're talking about the brain? The
kids love it. When we put them in that motorized chair, they want to go faster and faster.
Okay.
A lot of these therapies have a game. They're gamified.
Okay.
So that the way that's done is that so the child is more engaged in it.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense.
So there's timing mechanisms. We use something called an interactive metronome, where they're using a trigger in their hand to listen and watch a beat, and they have to keep up with that beat, and they're getting error correction signals. So it's a slew of different things, but the main objective is to get those brain areas working better, and the word that we use is called neuroplasticity.
Okay.
That means that if we can exercise the brain can then create more pathways.
I see. So what type of individuals would benefit from this type of functional neurotherapy?
Sure. Obviously, being in this conference, we're talking about children with developmental delays.
Yes.
I have subspecialty training in that too, so that's a big part of our population. Autism, related disorders, but we also do a lot of traumatic brain injuries, post-stroke deficiencies. We even do Parkinsonism, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy. So it's really depending on what the patient is presenting with. Those are the areas we really focus on.
And how can a person kind of tell whether this type of therapy would be beneficial for their child, for their loved one? Like what type of symptoms, what would you think would be that kind of person that you would know, okay, this is something you should check out?
Yeah, well, I mean, being that were, again, in this conference, I would tell you if the child has developmental delays, right? Like difficulty with speech or difficulty with controlling motor activity like stimming, or having behavioral dysregulation like mood issues and maybe defiance, or poor postural tone, where they're real floppy, lack of coordination. In general, if patients are dizzy, again, not in this population, but if they're dizzy or they have cognitive deficits, like, they're not as mentally sharp or clear, or they've had a stroke, or they've had a brain injury, those types of things would be the best.
And is there a certain age group that is included or excluded?
So we typically start at about, I treat any age because I can do a lot of things without technology. So really we do things for infants and things like that as well, that are showing early signs of different neurological disorders. But really 2 years to, 90, 100 years. We got some older people too as well. So.
And if people who are listening right now are thinking that they want more information about functional neurology or about your practice, where can they go for more information?
So functionalneurologybraincenter.com. I know it's a big deal there, but that's our website, and you're going to get a ton of information there. We have a real expansive website. Covers everything that we treat, the methodology, how it works, what we do, all the research behind what we do, and that type of thing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the information. I learned a lot today, which is great. I appreciate you coming on the podcast and being here to give everybody in this community more information. So
thank you for doing this. This is really neat. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you found this episode helpful or informative, don't forget to follow us on social media and share this podcast with your friends. Like, follow, subscribe so you never miss a show, and help others know their rights by spreading the word. Your support helps us keep fighting back. The information provided in the Fighting Back podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as legal advice. Every case is unique and should be reviewed by a qualified attorney who can provide guidance based on the specific facts and circumstances of your case. Listening to this podcast does not create an attorney-client relationship with Vital Law or any of its attorneys. If you are facing any legal issue, we strongly encourage you to consult with a licensed attorney directly.